Hold tight.
No, we're talking. Hello and welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Rosie and I'm joined today by 006?
Yeah, I'll take it.
006 Agent Alex.
That's pretty good. That's close to 7.
Yeah. You can't be 007. That's already taken.
No, that's fair.
And as we now know, 009 is also taken because...
He's naughty. They're naughty.
Naughty. But we have seen the state of play for 007 First Light, which was fantastic, and I'm so excited for this game already.
I can't believe it. And it's March it's coming out, so
Yes.
it's really not that far away.
Not far away at all. We're already off to a stellar beginning of the year next year. But not only did we all see it on the state of play, but Alex, you actually saw it at Gamescom.
I did. A few weeks ago, I was very lucky. We didn't know it was going to be there. We got to Gamescom and I was like, why is there a really nice Aston Martin just parked in the middle of this exhibition hall? Quickly had a chat with some of the staff there and managed to get an exclusive screening. We saw the exact sort of slice of gameplay that was shown at the state of play, but it was a really nice setup there. We were invited into a little cinema room. There was popcorn. And I have to say, and I'm going to mention this a lot, it was like just sitting there watching an incredible Bond film, eating popcorn. It was probably one of my favourite little slots that I had at Gamescom. I saw loads of amazing things, of course, but in particular, sitting there and basically watching an incredible Bond video game, which we're going to talk about in a moment. It was amazing. I really, really enjoyed it.
But we are going to talk about just everything we really enjoyed in general about what we've seen so far with 007 First Light. So, Alex, what do you want to say first?
Well, I think we'll probably go through it in kind of chronological order as to what was in the video and in the state of play, and pick out bits that we, in particular, enjoyed. Obviously, straight off the bat, this looks like an early mission in the game where Bond and some more senior agents are going to a big fancy estate to try to locate rogue agent 009. We don't know much about 009. I think there's going to be lots of twists and turns there, I'd imagine. But straight off the bat, Bond is driving. He's the chauffeur, or pretend chauffeur. He's driving a very fancy Jaguar in British racing green, as it should be, and it looks glorious. The game looks beautiful. The car looks beautiful. And straight away, I'm thinking, I can't wait to have a go at driving cars in this game.
I can't wait to drive a car.
Drive a car. Let me have a go in the Jaguar. And yeah, straight off the bat, game looks great, and they get to the estate, and Bond's job is to just wait and let the agents try to locate 009. He has to wait by the car and be a good boy. But he, being the hot-headed, brash, young, perhaps even a little bit naive James Bond that we've got in First Light, which will be really interesting to explore, he spots some suspicious activity and immediately is like, right, I'm going to go and investigate myself. I'm getting straight in there. And yeah, there's a really cool sequence as he tries to get into the building. As he investigates the outside of the building, he has this device called the Q-Bot, which is his kind of like way of analysing and scanning the environment for openings to the building, perhaps objects he can interact with to distract, or, interact with NPCs in different ways. And yeah, it looked like we were shown a specific way to enter the building, but it looked to me like there's going to be numerous ways that you can achieve this. There might even be a way. He's very charming with the NPCs. We have to say,
I love how he's a charming devil.
The Bond charm is there, definitely, and I think that maybe there's ways that you can talk to certain people in certain ways. It's just going to be interesting to see how Bond's character is in this, because there's going to be that sort of kernel of the Bond that we know and have come to love over the years in the films, but this is a very young Bond, and I think there's going to be some really interesting experiences he might go through in this story that help shape him going forward. But yeah, charming NPCs, little mini puzzles to try to infiltrate the building, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, once he gets into this, it's an incredibly big, fancy estate building filled with NPCs and people just walking around experiencing this posh event. Apparently there's some sort of big chess game going on, and this is a big deal apparently. And really, it just felt so Bond in just that moment when he's overlooking this very posh event, but he's looking for this chap that he's spotted that looks a bit suspicious.
Yes. And
he's analysing the room from a balcony, and you can see the chess game going on. I don't know what's going on in the chess game. And yeah, it just felt very Bond in that he's got his mission, and he's determined to figure out what's going on with this suspicious figure. Then it fast forwarded a little bit, and we saw another example of the Q-Bot. He's on the ground floor of the building now and surrounded by NPCs, not sure how to continue his investigation, uses the Q-Bot device to sort of scan his environment, and all these little green dots appear, different things he can interact with, and he opts to go and speak to the bartender to get some information. The bartender very readily and happily says, well, I noticed some suspicious. This chap was being a bit suspicious. You should go. He went that way. And then we cut to my favourite part of the whole video. It jumped forward, and Bond is in pursuit. He's obviously been rumbled. 009. It might be 009. It might be just one of 009's, one of their agents, one of their bodyguards. We don't know. We don't know who this person is that they're chasing. But he immediately is next to an Aston Martin that looks an old school Aston Martin. Looks beautiful.
It did look very beautiful.
And he smashes the window to get into the car, and then immediately is like pedal to the floor. Let's get going. Is joined by a lady.
A mysterious lady.
We don't know too much about. You're thinking already, is this going to be the Bond girl, or what kind of relationship are they going to have? Bond's had all sorts of entanglements with ladies and down the years. And yeah, this amazing car chase begins. Not only did it feel incredibly cinematic, just in the scale, with Bond swerving off the road and doing all sorts of big jumps and stunts. I really enjoyed. There were lots of quips that Bond kept saying while it was happening. It all just felt so Bond. They've really nailed that feel. It's not just like a cinematic car chase. It's got that little bit of cheeky humour, that little bit of just very humorous and very over the top, and it just to sit and watch it was incredible. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Like I say, you get to drive a Jaguar, now you get to drive an Aston Martin.
Yeah.
But this is a slightly different kind of driving because it's at high speed and there are hazards everywhere. And this goes on. There's a bit of back and forth between Bond and the lady in the car that's with him. Her name is revealed to be, she's Agent Charlotte Roth. And she's working for the French spy agency. So there's going to be some interesting, perhaps, conflicts of interest between the two of them, maybe. And yes, the car pulls up. They see that the car they were pursuing has been abandoned, and the target has fled to a runway. And immediately Bond is out of the car, is handed a pistol by Agent Roth, and descends this hill towards the runway. And this is another really cool moment, because at this point we haven't seen Bond fire a weapon or get into any sort of combat.
He's very, very good.
He is good.
With weapons, isn't he?
It turns out, a secret agent, even if he's young and it's early days, he knows how to use guns and how to fight.
Well, he was trained at the Navy, wasn't he? They said. So he's already got that expertise, knowledge in weapons and things like that, and you can bloomin' see it in this section.
Absolutely. In the game, you can tell the game makes you really feel like, well, again, a badass. It really does. You feel like Bond. Before the shooting sequence even begins, a guard pulls his weapon up and points it at Bond, and then the moment that a shot is fired by the guard, I think it was, License to Kill pops up on the screen, and that's when it's
such a lovely touch.
Here we go. We're into a shooting sequence here, and it is one of the most epic set pieces I've seen in a long time in a video game. There's absolute carnage going on this runway. There's people firing at Bond. There's explosive barrels you can shoot. You can do melee combat, go up and get into scraps. You can fall onto enemies and take them out that way. He's switching weapons. He uses a shotgun at one point, an SMG, an assault rifle, a pistol. He's switching weapons all really quickly, using the environment to his advantage. And before you know it, there's trucks of guards appearing, bodyguards, and he's blowing the trucks up, and there's explosions everywhere. This plane that the target's gone into is trying to take off, and this is all happening in the background. Again, it reminded me of some of the epic set pieces from Uncharted.
I was going to say, seeing this at the State of Play reminded me of when we all saw the famous Uncharted 4 scene where Nathan Drake's being dragged along the mud by all the trucks and things like that. This had that same feel of oh, we're going to show you a massive action piece, and what a massive action piece it was. It
is incredible. You're there obviously focusing on taking out the enemies that are in front of you and switching up your weapons and trying to deal with all of that stuff. But in the background, there's all this carnage going on. There's clearly, they're in a bit of a rush. They're in a bit of a hurry to get away from Bond. They're in pursuit. And before long, Bond has commandeered a sort of luggage truck to try to catch up with the plane. So again, another type of vehicle, perhaps not as exotic as a Jaguar or an Aston Martin.
Hey, every vehicle helps.
Well, indeed, and in this particular moment, it does really help, and it manages to he gets himself onto the wing of the plane. We're still on the ground at this point, and there's fisticuffs on the wing of the plane. There's guards going flying all over the place, and before long, Bond has actually entered the plane itself, and they go into a sort of a little sneaky section where some of the guards inside the plane, they think they've successfully taken off, and they think that Bond has been dealt with.
He's all fine, it's all fine.
We'll just cruise, get up to a certain number of feet, and we'll just put our feet up and relax for a few hours. it's not going to happen. Because Bond is there. He's snuck on, and he starts hacking this little device on one side of the plane that allows him to change I think it's the banking of the plane, like left and right. It tilts the plane.
Flight terminology
well, I'm
here
trying.
from Alex.
Well, I had to check earlier with Dave what the correct terminology was, and he talked at me for a few minutes, and I stopped listening. But as you're progressing through the plane and dealing with guards, you can tilt the plane to move things around to your benefit, to move bits of cover around, to squish enemies with cargo. It just seems to me like there's another layer again. There's lots going on and lots of things for the player to interact with. It's not just a straightforward shootout. You can use the environment, use these gadgets to your advantage. And before long, Bond is falling from the plane, hasn't got a parachute. Everything's falling out the back of the plane. It's chaos. And as he's falling with purpose, because he's going towards a guy with a parachute, the Bond theme starts to kick in, and I'm like, oh.
Whenever the Bond theme kicked in this presentation, it was good. It kicked in like a couple of times, and every time it did, it was like, right, here we go. He's in his full Bond element now.
It's so good. And that just gave me goosebumps when I saw it at Gamescom, like watching him descend through the air, and just the Bond theme kicking in. It felt amazing. And then, he gets into a scrap with a guy mid-air, as you do. But, the whole presentation, I kept just thinking to myself, this feels so Bond. Like, from the posh event that he sort of gate crashes and has his own little mission to navigate while he's there, to the epic car chase, to the fight on the runway, and to using his gadgets on the plane, and the Q-bot earlier, to then, falling. But the whole thing was this massive slice of just delicious James Bondness, and it made me really excited. It's been a long time since we've had a Bond game, and I am fully on board.
The main thing I was sort of like really excited to see was so recently I've got into the Hitman series, fantastic series, and I was very interested to see how this is like Hitman but also its own thing. And I think there's so many things that 007 First Light does that Agent 47 couldn't do. So, for example, like the fact that Bond can charm enemies and just like use his charisma to get through certain situations. Agent 47, I love him to pieces. I love Agent 47, but he's not the most like emotive gentleman.
No, it's the way he carries himself, isn't it? I think with Bond, there's like a cockiness and a swagger. I think you're absolutely right. I think he has a certain charm to him. And again, it will be really interesting to see how that plays out in interactions with NPCs. I can guarantee there's going to be lots of the Bond quips. There's going to be lots of funny conversations where he tries to be the funny, witty one. I can't wait for his interactions with Agent Roth either, to see how their relationship develops. And I can't wait to get a good look at 009, because as we all know, Bond films, they have great villains. There are some amazing, iconic villains in the Bond series, and I imagine the villain in First Light is going to be amazing, and we're all going to be like, okay, this is going to be one of my favourite villains this year.
And we do not have long to wait until we get to see all of this. Like,
I can't believe it's the end of March the 27th, 2026. On PS5,
right.
It's like we're talking a matter of, it's like, what is that? Just over half a year, 8 months away, something like that. It's like 2026 is already looking stacked. And I have already ring-fenced time to play this. Forget everything else. I'm going to sink my teeth good and proper into 007 First Light. I just can't wait to drive the cars, shoot the guns. We'll just... it all felt so Bond, and I'm really excited to see more.
Yes, and Alex, thank you so much for telling us what you thought about 007 First Light so far. And thank you all so much for listening as well. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to PlayStation Access if you'd like to see more videos like this, and hit the notification bell so that you stay up to date with everything from the world of PlayStation. Thank you all so much for watching.